Hi there and welcome to Straight Talk. We decided to go video for a change. And today's topic is really about the annual operating plan or budgets, as they refer to. And this is typically the season when I'm sure most of the GCCs are absolutely working feverishly towards the annual operating plan in terms of the budgeting processes that includes the GCC itself. But I wanted to kind of take this moment and talk a little bit about why is this so important, the annual operating plan beyond a ritual. I think for eons we have been talking about seat at the table, be a part of the entire decision making process, move up the value chain, and a host of other things that really is an ambition as well as the expectation of an enterprise that the GCC truly steps up. And in my opinion, the annual operating plan or the budget is really that exercise that allows you to get a ringside view of what's happening in an enterprise. Now, much too often, and I've been guilty of the same things in the past across my multiple GCC journeys as well. Now, it's very easy to fall into the trap of hunkering down, working on the GCC's budgets, whether it's zero-based budgeting or any other modality that may be prevalent in your organization. I think a lot of the times we tend to focus a lot in terms of securing budgets for the center and making it an absolute spreadsheet activity. Now, that's important, but I do think there's a precursor to this. I'm sure the entire enterprise really comes together to figure out what's the best use of the dollars that is to be spent by the enterprise. And look, we live in a very different world today for various reasons. And I'm sure every enterprise is grappling across multiple different dimensions, be it geopolitical shifts, be it disruptions in terms of the business processes, including coming down to which parts of the organization, I mean, the enterprise really needs to cut costs or save costs from to that extent, and also reallocate dollars in terms of meaningful investments. And this is an activity that happens across every business unit, across every function within the enterprise. So the question is, how present are you? Are you at these tables? Are you at these meetings where these decisions and deliberations are being made? And by you, I don't mean just the center leader. I don't mean the GCC leader alone. Because in a lot of these cases, I'm sure the GCC operates as a perfect matrixed organization, which means that responsibility is really a shared responsibility at the GCC between the center leader and the minus one, which are the functional leaders, who typically really are the ones who are having the right visibility into what the charter of the organization is. But more importantly, before you ask, I think it's very important to listen. Be part of the meetings, listen to where the enterprises are really going in terms of those decisions being made. Because once you have those inputs, I think that forms a very solid base in terms of how you're going to tee up the budget and the AOP for the GCC itself. And much too often I've seen, and like I said, I've been guilty partly too, in terms of looking at the center pretty much in isolation, looking at headcount, looking at salary increases, looking at facilities, looking at everything else that is pretty much a construct of the GCC, but sometimes have lost visibility in terms of, well, how do I tie this into the enterprise prerogatives, which are being discussed right now during this budgeting or the AOP season, and say, hey, you know what, this is what I heard from a particular business unit or a particular geography or the corporate side of things, and say, that's something that we are willing to step up and do. And for us to be able to do this, this is something that we would want to kind of put in our budgets, whether it's investment for infrastructure, investment for talent and capabilities, and the likes. I think the most important aspect that I want to kind of leave you off with is treat that AOP exercise as the seat at the table. This is probably the best chance for you, the GCC, to really step up and make that connection to everything that's a priority for the enterprise and really demonstrate how is it that the GCC, with the right investments, is going to help the enterprise make more money, save on costs, get more productive, or simply remain compliant because In the current world, the cost of non-compliance can be excessively high. I hope this makes sense to you, and I wish you all the best for the AOP. And stay tuned for more such, on the ground, practitioner led experiences around the GCC. Talk to you guys soon. Bye bye.